been following his career so closely. Obviously, Mirko's had, some mixed results as of late, not as dominant maybe as he once was. What's your assessment of his game at this point? Is he doing something technically wrong that you can capitalize on? Is he just aging? Is it the evolution of MMA? What's been the differences of late?
I'll say the same thing I said to everybody else. Crow Cop is still the man he's always been. He's still the monster that he's always been. He's still as deadly as he's always been. But because of him, it's that everybody else has had no choice but to get better. Everybody else had to evolve to get better in the sport in order to survive with guys like Crow Cop, in order to be able to stand with guys like Crow Cop, or even be in the same arena as this guy. We all had to get better. So he's not older, worse, slower, weaker, nothing. It's everybody else got better is what has happened. Anybody says that Crow Cop is out of his prime can feel free to fight him for me next Saturday. I don't mind. I will defend that till the end. I've had almost arguments with people who said, oh, he's not the man to be. I mean, I've had arguments with people saying that because I don't like that. I don't like hearing that. He is the man, in my eyes, he's the man that he's always been. It's just that everybody else has gotten better. Makes it a little bit more difficult nowadays.
Thanks, Pat. For Rich, please. Rich, why did this fight appeal to you, man? Was it just because, the UFC needed a favor? Was it because it was Chuck Liddell and it's a legend? What was it about this fight that appealed to you?
Probably both reasons. I don't think I ever would have sought after a fight with Chuck Liddell, so the only reason why I would have accepted this in the first place is the UFC actually asked me. When you have an opportunity to fight somebody like Chuck, it's just not something that you can turn down.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rich. And finally, for Chuck, please, obviously I'm sure you don't like hearing retirement questions and things like that, but Dana has been so vocal about it after your last fight. Is there any part of you that considers that this may be your last fight and, maybe you should slow down and enjoy the moment or soak it all in or anything like that? Does that even cross your mind?
No, it doesn't actually. That's not where my focus is. That's not what I'm doing right now. My sole focus is on getting ready for this fight and getting ready to fight Rich. I'll worry about what happens after the fight.
Great. Thank you all.
Once again, if you have a question, please press star then 1 on your touch-tone telephone. We'll go next to Ron Molinor with Fox in Cincinnati.
Chuck, I know you said earlier in this interview that Rich presents a bigger challenge to you than your original opponent. What if anything, concerns you about Rich's style?
Well, I mean, he's good in a lot of things. I mean, I'm not really concerned about one thing about his style. I just think he's better striker, and you gotta stand his toes, and he's in great shape. So, it's going to be a tough fight.
Rich, would it be accurate to say that the longer this fight goes, the more it favors you? And if so, can you elaborate on that?
I think if you were to ask me that question without seeing Chuck about 10 weeks ago, I would have said yes. But looking at the shape that I saw Chuck in when I was actually out on the show, I'm not really sure if that's going to be an issue or not.
Okay, thanks, guys.
We'll go next to Sergio Nine with USA Today.
I have a question for Mirko. I want to follow up on something that Pat Barry said, where he basically said the thing was, it's not that you have gotten worse in any way, but it's just that your opponents have gotten better. When you look back on what happened to you in UFC, do you agree with what Pat is saying? Do you think it's just that the opponents got better, or do you think there were things you could have done to make your life a bit easier?
Well, part of it definitely is true. MMA as a sport is growing, and fighters are coming more and more complete than it was before. But to get to victory, today in this competition, you also must have your day. It doesn't mean that I'm looking for excuse, but sometimes you just don't feel good. You just don't feel you actually want to fight. It just came like a day like that. Just come. I remember in this preparation, there was a day that my sparring partner were beating me up, Next day I came and I knocked them out, all of them, Just like that, I just feel good that day, Some other day I don't feel good. And when it happens on the fight, then you are in trouble, But of course I did everything I could to prepare myself and to put my body in the best possible shape. And I trained really hard for this fight, and I will do my best. I'm sure Pat will do his best, and so we will see.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, this is Jen. Just to let you know, we have a light queue right now, so if you have any questions for any of the 4 fighters on the line, go ahead and queue up now.
Next is Greg Parfit with Bleacher Report.
Yeah, hi. Just a question for Pat, really. Just looking in the past at fighters like Gonzaga and DeSantis, who got big wins over America and sort of launched their careers. Is that kind of what you're aiming for, Pat?
I'm not. I never look at any of the fights that I have as launching my career. So I never consider them to be that. Like, I've got to look at every fight as this is the furthest that it is as of this moment. I've got to take every fight one at a time, like no matter who it is. And we got to also keep in mind, I've been doing MMA for a year and a half now, so I had a long kickboxing career with a lot of fights, but I had 3 MMA fights when I was in the UFC. I had 3 UFC undercard fights, and now my 4th fight is against Crocop as the co-main event. Like, now, all that is a testament to what I've been doing is I've obviously been doing something right, where somebody sees some potential or somebody, someone likes what I'm doing. I've got to be, something I'm doing is working because I'm being put, like I said, I don't think my name is being used in the same sentence as now I'm standing in the same octagon as his, and like, we're going to cut gloves and I get to test myself against him. So I don't look at this fight as, after this fight, what's going to happen? I have no idea what's going to happen that night. Just like you said just now, I might wake up that day and be the best Pat Barry I've ever been. I might also wake up that day and be the Pat Barry that I was today when I got up to go to practice, where if we were to fight right now, I definitely would not, today was not my day. You know what I mean? So I don't know, I have to keep myself grounded and not look past or try to come up with what possibly is going to come out after this fight, because I don't know what's going to happen. I might win, I might get kicked in the neck and die. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, and therefore I've got to keep myself, like, my limit is the fight.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. We have Metzer with Yahoo Sports.
Yeah, this is for Rich. You kind of touched on it earlier, but in your mind right now at this stage of your career, what do you think is your optimal fighting weight? And or is it just a situation where you are kind of being directed into, this and you're just being a good soldier, so to speak? I mean, optimally, if there's a 195-pound weight class, I think that'd be great for me, but there's not. And so I realized, I've always had trouble making weight at 185. It's just, it takes a lot of effort for me to do it. 205, I realized that I'm a smaller fighter in that weight class. And it hasn't been an issue yet. I mean, even though I fought Vanderlei at 95, he's historically been a 205-pound fighter. I fought Hamill at 205. I fought Henderson, that was a 205-pound fight. And of course, he's a smaller 205-pound fighter. But at this point, fighting at 205, I haven't had an issue with somebody being just so much stronger than me that I have to worry about something like that. So I'm kind of interested to see how this all plays out at 205 anyway.
Now, when you fought Belfort, I mean, what's kind of your thoughts coming out of what happened in that fight? Do you just think it was just a moment and you got caught, or was there something there that you learned that you're going to try to avoid now?
I think part of it was a moment and I got caught, perhaps, but looking back at the tapes of that fight, I didn't fight well. And for me, honestly, I think that fight was lost 6 weeks before the fight even began.
Is it a mistake in training or something like that?
Just the fact that I was mentally cashed, and when you start coming into the gym and the moment you walk in, you look at the clock and count down the minutes to the time that you leave,